A very warm welcome, viewers, to the latest edition of Forces First, and I am Rakshita Mishra. Viewers, we'll start with the big story of this week as India, for the first time, puts it on record how many Pakistani jets were down. The opposition should be listening, the world should be listening to this. And viewers, on the show, we also have more stories packed in for you, from Trump's gamble against the BRICS, bringing it together, to why Munir is once again visiting Pakistan, second time in 2 months, viewers. Also, the big arms deal that has been approved by the Ministry of Defence, and more, viewers, has been packed in for you. But first, we start with the biggest story, viewers, as the Air Chief Marshal AP Singh sets the record straight. He has said that India had downed at least 6 Pakistani jets, and that's the biggest story we are breaking for you. We'll just play that soundbite for you. And as Air Chief Marshal has made it very clear to the world how India hammered Pakistan. India has made it official that at least 5 Pakistani fighter jets were shot down by India. And this is the biggest story that we are tracking for you today on Republic TV, viewers. The S-400 had shot down 5 Pakistani fighter jets, and the IAF chief said that this is, of course, about Operation Sindoor. Breaking news coming in, and we'll get our experts also on this story, viewers. So remember, there have been a lot of questions being raised about how many Indian jets have been down. But here, listen, everybody needs to hear this. Here, Air Chief Marshal AP Singh, how many Pakistani fighter jets have been downed by India?
It was a nicely planned out effort, and the date was decided. It was the 6th and 7th night, date and time, and it was decided based on weather, based on what pattern we were seeing across the border of their movements and their actions. And we decided that time, and we decided that it will be in one go we will address all 9 targets. And like I said, Air Force was targeting these to the border, so it was not that we could do something with small drones or weapons of small caliber. They were all nicely hardened structures. So we decided to go with long-range weapons to keep ourselves safe from their air defenses, but at the same time, accurate weapons to get the targets while not causing any other damage to the areas around. And special emphasis throughout has been that there should be minimum civilian casualties who are not involved with this.
We have retired Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor on the phone line. Air Marshal Kapoor, well, this is, of course, the biggest statement coming in. And the Indian Air Force has set the record straight, and first time making it official that the damage that was done to Pakistani fighter jets, sir.
Yeah, Rakshita, it was clear from the beginning that we did inflict massive damage to the enemies, and that's how on the 10th, the GMO asked for ceasefire. It doesn't happen like that. And the statement coming from the Chief of the Air Staff, puts a stamp on the talks which were going out, in the social media and on the media. So it has got now an official stamp. And there have been not only losses in the air, there have been huge amount of losses on ground also. So the Indian ports, the satellite pictures, and what has been picked up, the Pakistanis have lost a large number of aeroplanes which were parked inside the hangars or on the tarmac also. So that figure we don't know. But the Chief of Air Staff saying that we have shot down 5 aeroplanes of Pakistani Air Force in air puts to rest a lot of clamor that has been going on in our media and the international media about Indian losses. But they'll have to now do some sort of introspection at their end also. That's my take.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, for joining us. We also have our guests. We have Major Samarpal Toor joining us on the broadcast. We also have Major General P.K. Sehgal. Major General Sehgal, thank you so much for joining us. And this is a big statement coming in from Air Chief Marshal. How do you react to this? This is India's way of telling the world what it's capable of, and why Pakistan had to, bend on its knees.
If you recall, some days back, Donald Trump in the statement had said 5 aircraft had been lost, but he did not mention which country had lost these 5 aircraft. Now, Air Chief's statement is categorically, clearly indicating that the losses were inflicted by the Indian Air Force on Pakistan. And 6 aircraft were brought down, 5 were fighters, and 6 was an AWAC which was shot down almost 330 kilometers inside Pakistani territory. AWAC is the aircraft which is used for controlling other aircraft, etc., both for air defense and offensive air operations. And that was a huge loss to Pakistan. It shows clearly the competence on our side in terms of planning, in terms of execution, in terms of the skills of the Indian pilots, and as well as the confidence that the government of India bestowed on them. The Air Chief has categorically gone on record to say that we selected weapons with great care and thought and deliberation to ensure that there was no civilian or collateral damage either to military installations of Pakistan or to the civilian installations. And when Pakistan decided to react, we put 13 of their airfields out of commission. Some of them continue to be in ICU even today. And on each of the bases, inside the hangars and on the runways, almost 50 to 20% of Pakistani Air Force would have been written off. Their air traffic control was taken care of. Their base operations must have disappeared, and their technical hangars, etc., all suffered immense losses. As far as Noor Khan is concerned, this was the prime command post for controlling air operations as well as nuclear operations as far as Pakistan was concerned. It was an underground facility constructed of steel and concrete by the Americans. There was only a small window through which the Indian Air Force managed to put a missile through, and everybody down below must have been not less than 100 to 150 top officers who were dealing with nuclear as well as the Pakistani air operations, who were all vaporized. Pakistan did not even bring out their bodies but leveled the entire area so that the people of Pakistan do not know as to what is the quantum of damage that was inflicted by India. Air Chief has also gone on record to say, I am myself a flyer. Any aircraft that is shot down by Pakistan on our side, the wreckage is strewn over a large area of almost 1 kilometer. Given the media on our side and given the satellite available with China and America, etc., the wreckage would have been shown on the TV. It puts to, I am very certain the opposition, particularly who've been claiming that our Rafales had been shot down, etc., is absolutely and utterly nonsense. Secondly, the DGMO Air had gone on record to say that all our pilots are safe. Even if any pilot had ejected, hundreds of people would have taken those selfies and hundreds of media channels would have shown that all over the world. The very fact that no aircraft was lost, no pilot was killed, is a absolutely salutation of sorts to the efficacy and commitment and competence of the Indian Air Force. Right. My salutations to the Air Chief for having planned and executed the operations in a manner that actually shook the daylight of Pakistan. And it was the Pakistani DGMO who thereafter rang our DGMO and virtually begged for a ceasefire, notwithstanding almost 30 times statements by Donald Trump that he was the one who brought the battle to the end as far as the two countries are concerned. That's an absolute and total misinformation, disinformation, which is part and parcel of a modern warfare.
Right,
Back to you.
Right, sir. We also have Major Samarpal Toor also. Major Toor, thanks so much for joining us on Republic. And we will, of course, continue showing and getting more reactions. Major Toor, this is a big statement. India, if you see in the last few days, be it in the parliament and also our, the service chiefs also making it very clear that there was no mediation and that the damage has been done to Pakistani side. This should be heard loud and clear by the world and people within.
Rakshita, basically, the most competitive air force in the world, they know it. They are keeping quiet about it. And they are discussing it. It's a case study. And moreover, you see, 2 days ago, 48 hours ago, a crashed F-16 video has come out on X in which a Pakistani national assumes that crash aircraft to be an Indian aircraft. But when they go near it, it comes out to be a Pakistani F-16 aircraft which was shot down. So these are the proofs which are, it is the public of Pakistan which is calling out their bluff. Right from the Noor Khan base, then it came to the Kirana Hills, to the downed J-17 fighter jet, whose visuals are very clearly there, which was shot down, and now this F-16, which is again showing up. So I'm sure with time, more and more truth will be coming out. Pakistan will be exposed slowly but steadily, and it is not us. We Indians are very busy in making progress and development in various fields. We are not bothered to give explanations. We have to move on. Whereas Pakistan's narrative, the fake narrative, is concerned, it is being called out, and the world is a witness to it.
Yes, Behatul. In fact, I'm getting more information. In fact, the Air Chief Marshal is still speaking. We can just go across to it because he's... and remember, this is the story first broken by Republic TV, the biggest story right now, viewers. And Air Chief Marshal continues to, in fact, explain what really happened. Just take a listen in.
It was a nicely planned out effort, and the date was decided. It was the 6th and 7th night. Date and time, and it was decided based on weather, based on what pattern we were seeing across the border of their movements and their actions, and we decided that time, and we decided that it will be in one go. We will address all 9 targets, and like I said, Air Force was targeting these to the border, so it was not that we could do something with small drones or weapons of small caliber. They were all nicely hardened structures. So we decided to go with long-range weapons to keep ourselves safe from their air defenses, but at the same time, accurate weapons to get the targets while not causing any any other damage to the areas around. And special emphasis throughout has been that there should be minimum civilian casualties who are not involved with this. AW&C and Jacobabad, the F-16 hangar, and we have indication of at least one AW&C in that AW&C hangar, and a few F-16s which were under maintenance there. Apart from these, the SAGW systems, mostly from, I'm talking about fighter aircraft, are from S-400. We have at least 5 fighters confirmed kills and 1 large aircraft, which could be either an ELINT aircraft or an AW&C aircraft, which was taken on at a distance of about 300 kilometers. This is the actually largest ever recorded surface-to-air kill that we can talk about. And apart from, of course, this, there are a large number of UAVs, drones. There are some of their missiles which have fallen in our territory. We have recovered a lot of wreckage from these, which now is being studied so that we can make out what did they do, where were they launched from, what route did they follow, what kind of system do they have, whether they have, what I mean to say, what generation those systems belong to. What all features do they have? So that study is going on, and it is going on even in coordination with DRDO. If required, we will also take some other industries' help for that. So I can say that it was, more of the high-tech war which was fought. In about 88, 90 hours of war, we were able to achieve, so much of damage to their system that it was very clear in their mind that in this current situation, if they continue, they are going to continue paying for it more and more. So they have come forward and sent a message again through DGMO कि हम बात करना चाहते हैं, and which was accepted from our side. And when I say our side, it's not just the Air Force, it's the joint decision that was taken, and it was taken even at the highest level. Why was that accepted? There have been a lot of debates which are going on. I will touch about it a little during continue in my talk. So that actually brings me to the end of my slides. Now, I want to talk about something like, if I can say, what were the reasons for success? One, which I can think of, is that there was political will. I'm being very, very candid here, very open here, because I hear various versions of it. I think if I tell you something, people will have to believe, because I was there listening to everybody, attending every meeting. There was very clear political will, very clear directions which were given to us, and there were no kind of restrictions which were put on it. Many people have spoken somewhere. Unfortunately, everybody is speaking about it. कि कुछ ना कुछ मैं बोल दूंगा इस बारे में. So there have been talks about, was there any restriction? Were you kept constrained? If there were any constraints, they were self-made. We, the forces, decided what will be our rules of engagement. We, the forces, decided what will be the escalation ladder that we want to ride on. We decided how we want to control the escalation. So I want to make it very clear. There were no, I repeat, no restrictions on us. Full freedom was given to us to plan and execute. I must say that, that our attacks have been calibrated because we wanted to be mature about it. A little bit on that I'll come to later. There was synchronization between forces. All four of us, CDS, the three chiefs. I must say here that the post of CDS has made a difference there. He was there always to get us together, discuss things out, iron things out. Wherever required, we all used to go to the senior leadership and discuss things out. NSA played a very, very big role, in getting all the other agencies and forces together. So there were so many meetings conducted, and whenever there was any doubt as to what next step. And most of the things that we did was before this event started. The Operation Sindoor started, because we wanted to threadbare discuss what are the eventualities, what are the possible outcomes, what should be our reaction, how we should react. So when the operations were going on, it was just on telephone, some calls telling them what we are doing. There were not much of discussion going on. Should we do this now? What do we do now? What do I do? No. I had the full freedom. And like I said, the way Air Headquarters team and the command headquarters, the way we worked together, it was actually a dream come true. So when that, these things were going on, the routine generally is very disturbed during that time, because you don't know when the meeting will come up. So I used to come home once a day, just quick change and go back and sit there. And I had made some arrangement to even sleep in my own office. So that evening, one day when I had, we had gone for a night meeting, then I had gone in overall. And I continued to be in that overall for next 48 hours. I never had time to come back home because there was something or the other happening. So I didn't want to leave my office or the company for even 1 minute. And when I came back after those 48 hours, after having gone through that, where we had taken a call that, okay, now we stop hostilities, there was so much of sense of satisfaction. And most of it was actually from the way my Air Force had, stood up together. That is what gave me more satisfaction than what we had achieved.
That's a big statement coming in from the Air Chief Marshal, Major Samar Patur. We just heard Air Chief Marshal AP Singh setting the record straight that there was no restriction, absolutely no restriction on the forces, and that they had full freedom. That it was a dream come true the way this operation was carried out, and all the forces were in sync.
You see, Rakshita, with the leadership of... Sir, please, sir, after you.
General Sehgal, please go ahead.
Air Chief has made some very interesting observations. Firstly, he said there was absolute and total political will. Very clear-cut directions were given by the leadership. the leadership was absolutely, totally decisive. Then he said there was absolutely no restrictions or constraints placed on us. If there were any, they were decided by the services themselves. And then he's gone on to record that the role played by NSA was absolutely stupendous. There was jointness and integration of the variety that he said it was like a dream come true. Then there's been a lot of gupshup in the media, as well as by the leader of the opposition, where he says there were constraints placed on IAF because of which they suffered certain losses. The Air Chief has gone on record to say absolutely and categorically that no restriction whatsoever were placed on us. There was absolute and amazing coordination and integration between the services. The leadership was absolutely decisive. Then he's also gone on to praise the role played by the CDS, and he says the very fact that the CDS was created was a great boon to the nation. And obviously, the type of integration and coordination that was brought about between the three services would not have been achieved without the CDS being there.
Yes, sir.
And obviously, the government's backing was total and absolute. This is the type of backing that I suppose nowhere in the world has been given, the type of backing that this leadership, political leadership and the political will and the decisive leadership gave to the defense services.
Right, sir. General Sehgal, we also have Major Toor. Major Toor, well, please do go ahead with your thoughts on Air Chief Marshal's, statement, clearing the air, setting the record straight that there was no external pressure, there was no restriction either, and there was clear political will that actually, helped in synchronization of the forces. That Doval also, NSA Doval played a very, very important role there.
See, firstly, the Air Chief has made it amply clear the advantage of having a CDS.
Yeah.
So the main objective, basically, to have a CDS was to see this day materialize and a better cohesion and a coordination amongst all the three triforces. So this was the main objective of the CDS, and it was an amalgamation of all the three air, land and sea efforts during war, which is come out as we have witnessed. Secondly, there was a casualty of 35 to 40 Pakistani Air Force personnel and military personnel at these air bases. And in these air bases, there was Saab 2000 ERIEYE AWOCS, which were destroyed. Then the longest kill, which sir was mentioning, was of the C-130J Hercules aircraft, which took the missile hit. Then one JF-17 was shot down and two F-16s were shot down. So this is the total accountability of the 5 aircrafts that we have mentioned earlier. And then the radar systems, HQ-9 and LY-80. These are the Chinese early air defense systems which were taken out. So approximately 14% of the Pakistan Air Force early air warning systems were wiped out. And had it been another 48 hours, we would have attained air superiority, because majority of the airfields, including Skardu airfield, were totally destroyed and were unserviceable. So the Pakistan Air Force was unable to use these.
Yes.
And that is why, out of sheer desperation, this call by the DGMO took place.
Right, sir.
Rakshita.
Right. Major Toor and Major General P.K. Sehgal, thank you so much for joining us on Forces First with the biggest story of the day that we are tracking. Viewers, we continue to track and get you more statements and reading into it. What does this really mean and the reactions to follow? But that's all we could pack in right now on this edition of Forces First. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be right back.